Shit, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Ivan the Great coming to you with another one. Today, man, here's a tissue. You got a little stuff on your lip, but here we are, man, in 2022, man, and a lot of people are bringing the same things that have held them back in life. Bringing that into the new year, man. And as you get older and grow, man, we not beefing with nobody with less than us because we call that nonprofit. If you got nothing to bring to the table, most time you got people out here throwing shots and doing things, but the reality of it is they have nothing to show for it. So that's why they have time to do those things. You know what I mean? They want to antagonize and play those little games. And sometimes it works. What's going on, PNG? Salute. You know what I'm saying? But the reality of it is it's like hiding behind a fence, because you think somebody won't reach out and get close to you. So you say these things. And the reality of times you set yourself up for embarrassment, because if I was on, living under somebody's roof, I'd be respectful, because, if your name on the lease, you better keep your energy down, because you could easily be put out. You know what I mean? The weather's changing. It's one of them times, man. And, seeing individuals, man, that believe that, that maybe they charisma and charm, but I would never accept a man that speaks ill of me and then sits around me in the presence of me for almost 3 years and doesn't acknowledge that they've spewed BS and said stuff about me, and then they want to apologize when they're caught in it. When they get caught up in their BS, when their words finally catch up to them, and call it the biggest regret of their life. Because even in that individual isn't going to be honest and forthcoming. I've seen individuals go on these reality shows and get on there and have women on there, man, and they're looking at their woman as their woman is asking their woman to take a lie detector test, knowing that they gonna fail the lie detector test. So you wanted to place blame and move it off yourself, man, but it's not honorable, man. Standing on your own stuff, stand on your own too. I wouldn't hide and not look forward and duck it, but maybe that is the essence of some of the things that these individuals, stand for. And then maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's your parents' fault. Maybe your daddy should have came and picked you up more as a kid and brought you over to the house and got you away from the BS. Maybe your mom should have did a little more. Maybe your mom should have helped you out and, helped you with your homework, or your aunties and stuff should have did a little more. Your uncle should have took a little bit more time with you. It showed you that you were misguided instead of letting you be a mess up. Because you're not a little boy anymore. So when you're a man, yeah, you might have been a mess up since you was a kid, but now they look at you like you a man, and you just got to live with that. You just got to be that adult that's messed up. And it sucks because they laugh at you because they, think something's wrong with you. But pill call comes and goes, man. A lot of individuals sit there and they wait. They spend their whole life addicted to pills, and you find someone that has the prescription you need, and you're able to get that every day. But I think, man, we gotta, talk about substance abuse, because oftentimes substance abuse is the thing that hinders a lot of individuals and puts them into these situations. Talk about substance abuse, because often. So when you start looking at these things and these individuals, you're gonna see that in them and these type of behaviors.
What's good?
What's going on? How you doing?
Chilling, fam. I was just sitting here listening to what you were saying, and you're right, man. It'd be like a big immaturity thing with these people, man. Like, just because you turn 40 doesn't mean that you got a 40-year-old mentality. And more likely with men, if we're 40 years old and we ain't been trained properly and raised properly, we ain't got the proper love from our family, we probably 25-year-old mentally. We still want Christmas presents and people to give us shit.
Oh, man. I mean, definitely. I think and that goes to,
what's
like,
up, PNG?
Spending your whole life walking around like that. But it's self-awareness. You gotta look at yourself and start, challenging yourself to be better.
Yeah,
And
it starts with yourself, especially when you got an attitude of thinking that you somewhere and you really nowhere. It's like what kind of complex they call that? That's some kind of complex, ain't it?
like a narcissist, or but some
Yeah.
people have Oedipus. Some people got that Oedipus complex. I've seen individuals that had that Oedipus complex. They look for their
Oh,
mamas to come save them.
yeah,
And
they're like, damn, why you leave me at the detention center?
yeah, you know what
Like,
I
yeah,
mean?
that happened to me one time when I was young, man. My pops, I wanted him to. I had got into some shit, but I didn't do it. And what the nigga asked me was, did I do it? I told him no. But I heard the man on the phone saying he was going to transport a juvenile. And instead of my pops getting up fighting for me, like going to the people like, yo, nah, my son ain't do it. He doesn't even do. He going to bow his head and say, we going to pray on it. Yeah, you ain't got no time to be praying in the real world. You better get over here and talk to the white people, let them know what's going on. But without whatever, he didn't do it, and they entered me right into that detention center in 3 cities down from where I was from. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's just a classic case of, he may be people be having the mama issues. Mama
Man,
do that.
they do. And I mean, I feel bad for those individuals who moms failed them and didn't give them that proper love. But at some point in your life, before you can you transfer that on to other people, that
Right.
because your trust is broken, because your mom was out here prostituting and going around with all these men. Now you see any woman you're with, you don't respect her like that, because your trust and issues are, you haven't dealt with those with your mom. And you have a hatred, and you're waiting on someone to leave you hanging. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But it makes you also, everybody you deal with them in espionage. They're never gonna really know who you are, because you're always gonna put up this fake facade that you fuck with them. Oh no, it's not like that. Nah, that passive aggressiveness. But to somebody real, it will resonate, and it will show that the person is being deceptive. And shit, all you can get from me is nothing. You know what I mean? A half a bar. Fuck y'all niggas. You know what I'm saying? When y'all get to that point, to that, I gotta
I mean,
decipher that you an actor.
I mean, definitely, man. I had to look at some individuals in 2021 and
Yeah.
realize that, what's the issue with somebody that ain't got nothing, that ain't bringing nothing to the table. I call that nonprofit.
Yeah. Like we always say, beefing with a broke nigga is a nonprofit, and that's basically what we call them niggas. We ain't gotta say the names, but
Yeah.
the niggas is glorified nonprofits. It's nothing gonna come of it, because you ain't shit and you ain't got shit. That's why y'all bond. When niggas be trying to look around and find, we brothers, we this, we that. Guess what? Look at y'all common denominator. Y'all got that bum mentality. That bum mentality is a motherfucker.
Waiting on a handout. Oh, definitely, man. But
Right.
but that's how most people spend their lives. You know
But
what I mean?
even the gypsies got a king, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even the gypsies got a king. So this shit is crazy.
You know what I mean? I'd rather go out and work for it than have my handout every day. But
That's the
in
American
essence, spending the day with my handout and
making up these false narratives of who you are and puffing your chest out. That shit don't run in the real world, fam. Because it's so hard out here to get anything. Who wants to give it to somebody that ain't willing to work for it, them damn self? But somebody that ain't got nothing else in the world, and that's why they look up to you.
I mean,
Because
but you know what? We do kind of live in an age where people like to do stuff to be seen and like gratification. So,
right,
there people do like to keep, it's a lot of people that like to keep people around them with less than them, so they can kind of, to me, I don't want to say like look down, but it's like, oh, I'm doing something for my broke friend. This is my
right,
broke friend that don't know how to, work on his car. So I mean, let me help him out, or he don't know how to change the tire. Let me do that for him. Or we go out to eat and he's sitting there looking, let me buy him a burger.
right.
But I mean, to me, I can't be around people like that, because
Who bought
I like nice things. So I can't, take you everywhere, take you to Ruth's Chris and be treating you every time I'm in there, because
right?
I had to go work all day to get it, but you sat at home.
Erica Badu said it. Hey, Erica Badu said it best. You better pack light, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Erica said you better pack light.
Come on, man.
Cause one day the nigga gonna say you gonna have to get on with all them bags.
I mean, definitely. I mean, think about it. I mean, while it may look cool, because I think growing up as a kid, when I was like 7 or 8 years old, you don't think of being adult like the responsibilities that come with it. You see those certain things and
Right,
trinkets or whatever, but you don't realize what come with it. You
You
know
don't
what I
know
mean?
like when you don't realize what come with having nice things that you got to pay for that shit. You got to work hard to get it. It just don't come to you.
Nah, man, it don't. You know what I'm saying? And even and even when people give you stuff, a lot of times it come with something attached. Like somebody might give you a car, but they might not tell you what's wrong with it. They might not tell you that something's going on with the motor. It's holding on to the last. Like it's like everything that glitter ain't gold. You buy a car and they done spent all this money painting the car and putting wheels and stuff like that, but they done cut corners just to do just enough to get you to indulge in it. And it latches on to your immaturity. Like, because if you really want something, a lot of times, it's like going to a car lot and you need a car versus to when you just want to upgrade when you want a car. Because if you need one, you're more desperate. You more locked in. You might take the first thing somebody gives you. You might buy something that looks a certain way, but as opposed to if you want it, while you might look at it, you might have the luxury of being able to sit there and question and say, okay, let me check this out. Let me drive it. Let me go take it to my mechanic. Let them look at it. Let them check the things about it, because you got to do your research. You want a car with rims, you got to check the suspension. You can't just buy it because the rims on there. You want to check the alignment, make sure all the things are done. I mean, I had a homeboy. True story. He bought a Caprice with some rims on it, and he was just so caught up in having the car with rims, he didn't even realize the car they didn't have the lug nuts on the car.
What? So he was so in a busy to show them rims off, he didn't look at the cosmetic of it.
Like, luckily for him, that the tire didn't come off on the highway, but as he was driving down to like a regular road, he said he was going straight. He seen the tire cut a sharp right. And next thing he'd have messed up the axle and everything. And then because it was a used car, he couldn't even get back, what he put
Right.
into the car. They didn't give him nothing for it. So he was just out of what he spent on the car. And now you know what I mean? That just that little bit. And it's like, man,
Right.
people take them shortcuts.
Right. Well, I would just say this for 2022, this year 2022. Beware of the man that come with his hand out. You know what I mean? The nigga that's walking
Snap it back at him.
yeah, trying to shake your hand. Beware of that man that
We
got
got
so much praise for you. And y'all didn't even have no interaction. Beware of that nigga that got so much praise for you, young blood, because
I mean, you gotta be, I would add to it and beware of the man that come apologizing to you to for something that they've been around you the whole time, been aware of. If a man knows something ill of you, it's like
right,
one of the things when somebody approaches you. And to me, anybody, I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but where somebody says like, "Oh man, somebody told me this about you," or "I heard this
right,
about you before I interacted with you, but now that I know that not to be true, I'm dealing with you now."
right.
And I tend to give it respect, but if you sat around me for too long and felt like that, then
So
what was you around me for? Because you around me plotting on me the whole time. If I moved wrong, what was you gonna do?
right, and but the whole
Don't.
thing is, why would you go on a search trying to find out something about me anyway?
Yeah. I mean, man, it's like what they say with relationships. Don't never go searching for something on your partner unless you're ready to find out the truth.
Right, exactly. Run through a
Like,
bitch phone if you want to.
go,
You
yeah,
know what
go
I'm saying?
through it. Go through it because you know what I mean. You got your chick out here. She's doing certain stuff and being friendly. She was probably the same way when she met you. So now she
Right,
can't have friends. Now you feel weird.
right.
Now you searching through a phone and you read every message and the same people that you've been around, now you falling out with your own people.
Yeah, I be watching this YouTube shit, man. There's a lot of fake ass big YouTubers out here. It's like motherfuckers, they mind be fucked up. They thinking they one way, but really you ain't nowhere. If you ain't got over on YouTube, Alvin, if you don't have over fucking 100,000 people, you ain't shit. 67,000 people that you seen me throw away $67,000 6 or 7 thousand people channels. Like you see me revamp them shits, not even give a fuck. So if you're
But
not really getting money, what's the use in doing it? You know what I'm saying? Or bragging about you're the number one of this, you're the number one of that. That's just a way of making an excuse saying, well, I was the first to do it. The first to do what? To be a failure? Because everybody else, I see that the people that like the what is it called? It's called like you just said it, that narcissist shit
Yeah.
is a problem. YouTube is a narcissist.
Cesspool. It's a
Yeah,
dope word.
assessment.
But I would but I wouldn't even say that. I would like challenge it in the fact that I would say like you see a lot of people's issues because think about this. It's probably somebody that ain't never got attention that's been laughed at their whole life.
Right.
And you put 15 people in front of somebody that is interacting with them and they not the, you know what I mean? They not just around. They are the center of the conversation.
Right. And they think they're a cult leader.
It probably drives them crazy, especially when they imagine somebody been victimized their whole life, got bullied and picked on, was too fat, right. Wasn't tough enough to be around.
Got shit. You ain't got
and then
shit,
now, hey, because now guess what they get to do? They get to go live vicariously. Now all them, them people that beat me up, it's like the person that studies in school and then and they get bullied and then they see the person coming into the job for an interview and it's like, oh, now you humble. Now I'm your big homie. Now I'm cool. I've been your friend all my life. Like you met somebody like, y'all didn't really mess with each other, but y'all meet later and cross paths and that person needs you and it's respect. Now it's all these things. Now you my elder, you this person. Come on, man.
Nah, nigga. You right though. It's like you run across these people in the world that they got so much love for you, but hey, to be honest, they don't never love you. They don't really fuck with you. It's what you got at the time. They need you, and it's a false narrative until they get what they want, and then they try to act like it was not that. You know what I'm saying? Until they need you again. Hey, I was wondering, like we said. It's a non-profit, man. There's a lot of niggas out here that's non-profit, man. It's charity work. And that's dangerous for a person to be around a person like that they ain't never had shit, that everything he had, somebody gave him. Because the whole time you sitting there with yours that you work hard for, he's willing to fucking try to gaffle you out of it or gaffle a little bit of your shit. You see what I'm saying? But it's 2022, man. This is the year of putting these fuck niggas in their place. You see what I'm saying? I hope I ain't messing up your channel by cursing.
No. So let me ask you this though, while we on that. What's more important, your network or your net worth?
What's more important, my network or my net worth?
Yeah.
Define network.
See, the network, I think to me, the network is what you have access to. To me, okay, so for me, I'm gonna say my network is more important. Because the people around me, even if at this moment I may only be worth, 5 figures. Like I may only be worth in 5, in 5 figures. But then at the same time, I got people around me that's worth 6 and 7, that's steady climbing, that are able to put me in position to do those things.
Right. I would say
that because at the same in the flip of it, if my net worth is really high, then I feel like I don't need people around me, then I start having people around me that are doing me no good that are going to bring it down. So maybe in this moment, how many people do we see in our community that are coming to instant millions like athletes, and then they go broke 3-4 years later when they've had a life-changing amount of money? It's their network. You know what I mean?
Right. They just surround themselves with the right kind of not people that make money, people that know how to keep money.
Because you got somebody that just know how to talk a good game. Because at the end of the day, like the reality of it is you sit there, everybody's like, what do they say? Man, if you give me 10,000, man, I'm gonna get this little truck and then I'm gonna start this business.
Right.
But then you give them the money, they go get the truck, but then they want to ride around and they want the gratification of it. They don't want to do the work. Because at the end of the day, even when you get put in position, sometimes you got to go put in the work. You got to go not be seen, because you know what I mean? Like,
right. Or when you get put in position, you don't know what to do with it. You get the shit, then you fumbled it. What did Migo say? You tried to get the bag and fumble it. You got the bag right there. You can't even see it because you don't want that much. See, there's a lot of motherfuckers. They fall victim of just trying to get over and get by on niggas. They don't want shit. So the little bit they do achieve, they stop right there. They read 10 pages of a 1,000-page book and be like, damn, that was a good book. Nah, that's why you can't advance, because you just settling. All you doing is trying to get over and get by. You know what I'm saying? But
I mean, but
I
that
would
goes
say,
because because the app, the applying it.
right.
Because it's like, man, they didn't stop on 10 pages. They may have told you step one was to write this down,
Mm-hmm.
but step four that you would have got to page 100 in the book was going to tell you to write down all the things that you needed to put you in position to reach your goal.
Right. But you didn't want to do that. You wanted to go the easy route. You wanted, hey, these motherfuckers right here is doing this and doing that. I'm going over here. No, and it's a lot of no loyalty too. There's a lot of disloyal people out here too, man.
Yeah, I
That,
mean,
that,
to me, I mean, but my greatest growth in life have always been when I put myself in an uncomfortable situation.
right.
And when I get comfortable, like that's when I start slipping, and I start missing out on opportunities to really hit a splurge.
Right.
But it's like, man, you got to challenge yourself. Some people it's like imagine all your life, like of just wanting, your goals are so small. Like if your goals ain't changing, like when you reach a goal, if
Right.
you're not coming up with more goals and you just settle on that, then you kind of done. Like you giving up on life. Like,
Or
you
if
know
you
what
in
I'm
the
saying?
same space you was in 2019, it's not working. You need to revamp and switch it up. I don't give a fuck what you say. If anybody hear this, if you're in the same space from 2019, it is not working. If you're in the same space from 2020, nigga, it's not working. No matter what you say, no matter what excuse you make up. It's like
Oh
every
yeah,
year you
it's really
add
not. I
something.
mean, you absolutely right. Like because either you didn't have control of it and you gave someone control, or you control. But it all goes to discipline though.
Right, discipline and honor. It's like what they got to say on the East Coast. The niggas, you ain't got no honor. If you ain't got no honor, you ain't got shit. I ain't talking about no dumbass prison rules or nothing because that ain't no honor. That's a bunch of niggas that was little kids locked up that got to be 40 or 50 years old making rules on some more little kids that just got locked up and they're gonna be in prison too when they're 30 and 40 and 50 years old. So all it is like the rules that these people go by and be like, yo, you can't do that, you can't do this. That's rules that were created by people that were 15 and 16 years old that are already homophobic, and then some of them are homo because some of them ain't never had no pussy, but they're in prison. So now they don't lock themselves out of pussy. Ain't no but dicks around. Can you imagine that shit, Alvin?
I can't. I grew up around. I couldn't fathom it. I went to basic training for
Right.
3 months with dudes, and the only women I saw were like lunch ladies and stuff like that.
Right.
So to
And the
even
moral is Jay-Z, man. I can
yeah.
do the time, but ain't no holes in the pen.
uh,
Fuck that, dude. Like, but nigga that can adapt to that, he's a weird individual.
but
And
hey, but
anybody
let
that
me but then let me ask you this though, because I'm gonna give you a little criteria. You
right.
take an individual that ain't never had a father, that's looking for male acceptance, looking for
Ooh.
male to accept them and raise you, then guess where the place to be is? I think that they would thrive in prison because they
Mm-hmm.
be looking around like, hey man, you raised me. What
Mm-hmm.
am I supposed to do as a man? Like,
Because it ain't nothing but a bunch of niggas looking to tell somebody else what to do because they
come on,
being told
man.
what to do.
Come on. Everybody wants a son, like.
Everybody wants to be a leader, and everybody wants to be somebody's son in
I
prison.
mean,
That's how I feel about it. Like,
but hey, but then show me, because even amongst that shit, show me somebody that's carrying your name on. Like if somebody, I don't, it's like when you see funny names, like somebody's name is Mud, they be like Little Mud, Baby Mud, I'm Big Mud. You know what I'm saying? We just a Mud family. You know what I mean?
anything that's unclean, why would you want to call yourself that though, fam? Like, and then, but
I mean,
but
because
see, dirty, but dirty. We gonna just we ain't gonna do subliminal, man. A name, if it's something, a nigga with a name like that anybody that's dirty, I don't want to fuck with them, dog. I'm gonna make that claim. That's some black money, dog. Anybody with any kind of shit behind their name like that, they share me. That's like an attribute on the East Coast. When a nigga called himself knowledge, wisdom, understanding, that's who he is. He's knowledge. So that means you might catch him with a book in his hand all the time. So a motherfucker that call himself that, all you can think of him doing is some dirty shit to you. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, because I think as a kid, it might be, they call you booger because you ate your boogers. They call
Right.
you, dirty because a kid,
But you,
because dirty can be twofold, because dirty can be in relation to your hygiene, or dirty can be in relation to your character.
ooh, and more likely it's both. when you're dealing with people like that.
Because and to me, because if you called me something like that, and that's a name that someone called me and I took on, whether it's like being called the N-word and you reclaiming the N-word. But then let me get back to just the synopsis of it. So you have the hygiene, you say hygiene, somebody's called you dirty all your life because you stunk and you know what I mean? You knew those things. Like that's a trigger for you. That's a weakness you carry. So that individual with their personal appearance would be something they took pride in. But then you could be dirty as in your character, meaning as you do stuff that doesn't make any sense, or you're always involved in some like something around you. It's never just honorable. You know what I mean? Like respected is always something shady to it. And then individuals, and then individuals just kind of accept you for it. It's like crackheads. Like people have crackheads and meth people that are on pills, all these different addictions that we know this person is a functioning addict. And when that person comes around, you just know to keep all your valuables in your pocket because you know they got sticky fingers.
Right. And that's more likely to beware of that person because that's the person that's always pointing out somebody else shit, speaking on everybody else and plotting. And then when it's confronted, they're passive aggressive. No.
What the saying? How the saying used to go? They say, "Don't point a finger at somebody because you got 3 of them pointed back at you." And then in the military, that's why they point at you with 4 fingers, and then the thumb is pointed at you too. So when you point with the whole hand,
right? Is that really why they do that in the military?
Man, that's like probably like an urban myth about it, but that's just like the the military indoctrinates you into a certain behavior. So in the military, you don't talk to people, you learn not to talk to people with your hands.
Okay.
So when you talk to someone with your hands, if anybody that knows nonverbal cues, that's a serious nonverbal cue, just someone pointing at you, like that level of doing that. But it's also being that close to you and not touching you because a drill sergeant can't touch you. So basically, when I do that, I'm belittling you.
Okay. A drill sergeant can't touch you? A drill sergeant, all they can do is holler in your face.
Only time they can touch you is like when you on a gun range, like because that's like safety right then. But beyond that, no, because they got all them all them cases of sexual assault and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, because the guy they're going, that's crazy. Because it seemed like they would be able to rough you up as loud as they be getting and acting up. I never noticed that they don't really be touching them.
I mean, but then we call that military bearing, though. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I mean, anybody that that didn't had kind of, I guess, discipline and structure, somebody didn't get loud with you or play sports, you had that. But you can tell, like, and that's the danger of this new generation is of being, playing video games and stuff and not really being active in sports, is because people that are in sports are, hey, y'all lose a game, your coach ain't talking to you like, oh, y'all did good, y'all didn't do this, man. Hey, lose a game on Friday night if you ever play football or something like that, and see what get dogged out and
he gonna
and
give you
y'all
that Vince Lombardi shit. He gonna give you the Vince Lombardi trophy across your head.
Man, come on, man. That Saturday morning when you come in there to watch film and workouts, like, ain't nothing fun about that. Nobody's in there like cheering and when you got to look at your mistake over and over and explain why you did wrong or listen to someone coach you on what you did wrong.
Right.
Man, hey, film sessions are a whole lot better when you win versus when you lose.
Right, because the nigga ain't got nothing but to point out what you should keep doing, not pointing out what you didn't do.
I was watching this, I was watching this documentary, right? And they were talking about boxing, and they was explaining why, why these kids that box when they get older, when they, why missing out on a certain amount of time in boxing, like years when they go to jail and stuff, like why it's damaging to them because their growth, because they're like, if you're a skillful fighter and your speed and your technique is what carries you, and you start growing, you aren't sharpening those skills as you're growing. So that's where the rust comes along. And then, if you're powerful, you're still going to be powerful. But, the skill set is the first thing that goes on someone that fights. So that's why that little bit of adjustment of you growing into it and you not, sharpening your skill while you're growing and you taking a break and coming back is going to impact you. Because also you on the side of decline.
Right. That's how I see it too. Like these people be skilled, and then one little setback will throw them off, and they'll never be able to get back to it again. Sort of like Michael Vick What happened to him when he went to prison? And when he came back and got in the NFL, was he still the same Michael Vick? Was it?
You know what? I'm gonna take it back even further. I'm gonna say this as a Michael Vick fan because it was before that when Ray Lewis broke his leg, he was never the same when he got his leg broke. To me,
Oh yeah, Ray Lewis broke Michael Vick leg.
yeah, he like grabbed him from behind and his leg got caught up under him. And to me, it's kind of one of them things when you get hurt.
Right.
That stuff can make you break you because it like a lot of them injuries, man. It make you get timid. You want to nurse it. You want to baby yourself.
Right. What you think they're gonna name the Redskins now?
Man, you know what? Hey, it could be anything, man.
I think they're gonna hit them with the presidents.
Oh man, something like that. Because you know what? It's like the Capitol. They got the Capitals and stuff like that.
But they might go even progressive. They might hit them with the Washington Bitcoins.
Man, it might be. They've been talking about sponsoring a team, and they just changed the Lakers arena to the crypto arena. So
they did.
Yeah.
Damn. See what I'm saying?
The Staples Center. They had like a ceremony and everything.
We might fuck around getting ready to have a goddamn Washington Bitcoin jersey out here.
Yeah, I don't know why people think, if people ain't invested in cryptocurrency and they just named one of the biggest, well-known arenas in the United States, not just for basketball, for all sports, crypto arena, spelled the same way as cryptocurrency.
Right.
Kind of behind.
Right, and that means that shit ain't going nowhere no time soon.
Nah. Because you pay money to put your name on an arena. And it's what, like 10 years at a time. So to invest $15-20 million, and that's probably like the low end of it, to put your name on it, on an arena, you gotta believe in it.
Right. It's got to be something. But so that arena, how long was that arena around before they did that? That arena been around.
Yeah, Staples Center's been around for a long time. Let's see. But like they do all the fights, all those big events there. So think about that now, like the advertising it gets.
Right. And now it's advertising the crypto shit. So now it's on a different level.
Oh yeah, because man, you gonna start seeing man, you probably gonna start seeing like shirts, like the ATM machines, and people only gonna start accepting that form of currency. So it's been the Staples Center from 1999 to 2021.
Right.
They changed it over.
Yeah, that except only that currency right there, that's coming soon, Ivan. That cryptocurrency and digital currency. No more hand-to-hand money because COVID shit it's probably easy transferable through the money. Anybody ever did a documentary on that? Is any of these pandemics transferable through money because money goes through everybody?
But think about like the what was it, like the Great Flu and stuff. I mean, not the Great Flu, but the Spanish flu and stuff like that. That was right before the Great Depression, and also the United States just printed up more money this last year than they have in 200 years. So inflation is coming.
Right. You know what? I'm black, but I do not want to see Harriet Tubman on no fucking $20 bill. She looks a mess.
I mean, we're not having money no more. So, so it's just the collector's item.
Look, so they're willing to put a black woman, and debt on their shit because it's not going to be around that long. Okay, they always give us something when it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? It's like that one little kid who, that coat was in style 3 years ago, but they didn't have the money to get it. And their cousin have it in their closet, and their cousin give him that coat that ain't nobody wearing no more that's not in style. And he get that motherfucker, and that's all he do is wear it. That's how they doing us with this money. Nigga, we should have been on the money because we been money. We was black money. That's what we started out as. Stock, chattel. You know what I mean? We was the first thing on the stock market was a human being. A black human being was the first thing on the stock market. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I don't do them Carnival cruises, because the Carnival cruise line ain't nothing but the fucking slave route. They drop off the slaves in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And by the same company. The niggas that started that Carnival cruise, that's the Dutch West Indies company.
And they flip it around. I mean, but think about that. They flip it around and sell it to you because them the cheap cruises.
Right.
That's what
Right.
maybe $150 a person. 3 days. $500 if you pay for the drinking package. Like
Right. Get off in Miami. Get picked. You know what I'm saying?
get on in Miami, go. What hit Jamaica or the Virgin Islands. Like one.
Cruise
The
to
mint.
nowhere. You fucking cruise to nowhere.
Yeah.
Man, they take you 5 miles out into the fucking international waters. You can do all this creepy shit that you can't do in America.
Yeah.
Ooh, bro.
I mean, food for thought.
Who see this person right here that's in the chat, that Cyrillic language, that Russian, that Greek, that language right there?
Yeah.
They must get paid a lot because they be on everybody live.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, man. That
That nigga is a.
But then that's somebody probably who has a bunch of servers and a bunch of computers around, just bouncing
Right.
around while they going through it.
Right, because I was on live a couple of times and this nigga done popped up. Like,
but then that's a way to make it work for you. If you committed and got a job doing it, you would invest in it, man. I think now if you really got a setup and you are, working from a computer and doing these things, you got to have multiple monitor setups. You can't do it on a standard monitor. I started using 2 monitors. I'm like, man,
you got to do it on one of them monitors that you can switch quickly like that.
Right? Switch the screens off real quick and
Right.
If you somebody that works off email.
Right. But this is the age of information, man. And the nigga that's kicking the false information and bullshit to you, it's like it could do every reprehensible damage. It can fuck you up. Like a nigga telling you one thing, feeding you this, feeding you that, feeding this. Your perception of how you see this shit is gonna be what the nigga's feeding you. So when you do come against it or come across that particular thing, the subject that y'all was dealing with, you're gonna react the way the nigga fed it to you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, your network, because man, you don't want to have a group of people around you that just speak on stuff they don't know and won't go research.
Right. Or
because now that it's like we were just talking about cryptocurrency and inflation, right? So being that if I'm somebody that doesn't know about cryptocurrency, and then this person is saying, hey, you know what, we might need to pay attention to that because they just named this arena crypto arena, and they not telling us that they didn't quit handing out all these checks, and the government is saying that people have stolen billions of dollars, and now we're about to have inflation. Like, what is inflation? Where does this come from?
It seems like a setup, don't it? Now
it's the perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's one thing we've heard all our life when they talk about welfare? Man, I'm the taxpayer. I'm paying for your welfare. So what do you think with the pandemic and they keep telling us that all this money got stolen? What do you think is coming?
Or the pandemic put the whole fucking country on welfare.
Cause and what people not paying attention to, what was Elon Musk like? Elon Musk just said he's paying like, he's about to pay the highest tax ever.
Mm-hmm.
And here like for like a business.
To cash them don't start right to cash that stock out.
Yeah, but no, he's got to pay like taxes on it. But it's the point of, and we not finishing up nothing. Like the student loans aren't being forgiven. They not taking that money. Where's that money gonna go?
And that came from insufficient counsel because we voted. Well, the masses voted for a nigga that was supposed to be doing that shit. So now all of a sudden, everything he told you he's gonna do, he can't do it. So now what does it do us?
I mean, he got up there and said, I'm gonna relieve student loan debt. So what people don't know about student loan debt is for people, majority of minorities, that's where most minorities, that's where a lot of their debt come from. Like especially ones that get into higher education.
Yep. Because we got these community colleges and these people that they don't give a fuck about you getting a degree. They want them government kickbacks and subsidies.
Oh man, like people taking these loans, all this stuff out and not doing anything with it. And I think like that's where like they, the community's a segue because there is no like meeting of it because you got to go work in these corporations and not get paid like that. You got to hope to get your foot in the door because the thing about it is like not to keep drudging on it, but network versus net worth is imagine going to school and taking out a loan to, when you take out $70,000 and you get a degree in accounting, right? And you're like, okay, well, now I need a job. Well, now you got to go work for this company that only wants to pay you. Let's say they want to pay you, $40,000, $50,000 because you don't have experience.
Right.
You don't have anyone to attest to you, as opposed to somebody whose parents, who's a, third generation accountant because they mom and dad, they mom, they sisters, they've all kind of got in there and now they have a network that can get you access there. They can get you a job. Your interview isn't as tough because somebody is like, oh, I know you. Just report on Monday.
Right.
Like that's something that people don't even talk about how it cripples. So like small businesses and stuff like that. So when you see like the impact of something like student loans, because it, you got to go out and get experience in some of these jobs. So somebody that goes and gets experience, is nothing wrong with taking a job and working your way up. But the point of it is when you have an insurmountable debt that you're not able to escape it now.
Right. Because you're coming in the red. Man, what you feel about these scam likely niggas?
Oh man, they
working
hard. Hey, they're working hard.
Yeah, these niggas is crazy. Motherfucker just taught me 3 times.
They got the ones where they DM you and be like, "Hey, you trying to turn $100 into 500?" Like, that type of stuff. And
no,
I wonder how many people they get with that. Somebody is
or that car insurance shit. Them motherfuckers that got that car insurance shit, they should be billionaires right now. The motherfucker that be calling you saying your car insurance going down and all that.
Oh man. Oh, your car warranty.
Yeah. I hit them with which one, the Bentley or the Maserati, man? Which one?
Bro, they just they used to do the publisher clearinghouse, like these scams, like the publisher's clearinghouse would call you and then they tell you won. And then they be like, we need this information from you, but we need you to send $700 in and you gonna get back, the $10
have you ever got that job? Have you ever got that job? The nigga gonna send you a check and tell you to go buy him some supplies, take your money out, and send him the rest back.
Come on, man.
Fuck out of here, nigga. You gonna trust me with $5,000, huh? For me to pay myself for 6 months, send you some money, and got there going, man, get out of here. You know the scam shit I'm talking about, Ivan? Yeah. When he send you the check, I know about 50 people that have gotten that check, man. I tried to cash it when they sent it to me. And it was from what's that bank that's in Walmart? It was from
So hey, you know what? Let me ask you, what do you think about that the Maxwell decision, right?
Oh, what about it?
Okay. Let's break down what she
got found guilty of.
Yeah. So she got found guilty of selling teen sex, right? Selling underage girls for sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why are we not talking about anybody that bought it, that paid for the sex, the people that she was selling it to? Why are they not going to jail if everybody feels so badly about it? Why are none of those people, especially when these
clients? Yeah, bring the clients in.
Come on, man.
What the clients? See, prove to us that she sold it, because you got to bring in the person that she sold, and you got to bring in the fucking clients. Where are they at? Let them speak up.
And does that mean that, basically people around her that were doing that, they threw her under the bus? Like the clients was like, yeah, we did this.
Mm-hmm. Because shit, what they say, what's her net worth? She a couple of million in, ain't she?
I mean, she might be a billionaire. I mean,
because dude was like a billionaire, wasn't he? Her heir, like the guy that they silenced.
I mean, man, they don't even, they don't even call her for her career. She's listed as a socialite.
A socialite. God damn. So that's what socialites are.
So her net worth is $20 million.
Shit.
What?
And where did she acquire that $20 million from?
So basically, a socialite is somebody who is well known in fashionable society and is fond of social activities and entertainment. So basically, all it means is that you just go around hanging out and you just known in the community to be the cool person that hangs out. So when you see these people like that, so that tells you what type of people she's around. If she's known to be in all these places like that,
she's a hub.
Yeah, that should. So that means that stuff was going on right under. I ain't gonna say right under everybody's nose because obviously that's stuff that a lot of people don't have access to. But
they've been telling us for years about Bill Clinton that they say he was ruthless with all that pimping and prostitution. They've been telling us for years about a lot of these creepy motherfuckers.
But let me ask you this though, right? Think about this with Bill Clinton. They paraded it in our face because growing up, man, Bill is black. Bill, you know what I mean? Like, he's a player because Monica Lewinsky. And now that you hear his name in this and it goes back years, you like that don't make
y'all stretch Bill out. Bill should be stretched out for it. If that's the protocol, right? Bill should be stretched out for the shit he doing?
I mean, but man, do you think you know what? Could America survive that if that happened to a president though? Imagine that though. A president, a former president.
Them motherfuckers killed the president. So of course they can survive. This ain't shit to them.
Yeah.
They killed the president before and many other people. So yes, they can. You know, America, everything we see on TV that they like the countries be doing and all that shit, even shit that we see other countries do. Remember, America did it first because we're the trendsetters. Now it's China, but for 100 years we was the trendsetter. So all this shit we seeing going on, believe me, America is the invention of it, the inventor of this stuff. But yeah, I think it will fuck the country up.
I mean, but man, you know what? All they have to do is show us a movie or a TV show, and then that just tells the reception of how it's gonna play out. Like that's how you almost conduct the trial because you read the reaction. Because man, did you ever watch the movie The Harder They Fall?
Nah, but you know, I had researched it when we was in heavy conversation about it. I had researched all the people you was telling me about and everything, how you was explaining it to me.
Like, think about how they tell us our history. Like, so you mean to tell me in all the Western movies, right? We really didn't see blacks and stuff like that. Like the ones I've seen. If you know any, then show them to me because one of my favorites, so one of my like all-time favorite movies is it's a Brad Pitt movie. It's called The Coward That Killed Jesse James, the assassination of Jesse James, the like Henry Ford, and it tells that story. And you don't see any black people in there, like no black people. They was robbing like white people. So he's like a hero, like a Southern hero and stuff like that. But when I watched The Harder They Fall, it was like the blacks had their own. We had our own thing, and if you listen in the beginning, they were saying that that's what they were trying to be protected from was the white people moving in on them. Right. And also, but so even in that interaction, it made it seem like we was in our own world because there were no white characters in there. It was just black people. So it was like we was doing our own thing. But while we're doing our own thing independent of them, we're dressing like they do in those Westerns for the time period.
Right.
But it's slavery still going on. So how, you know what I mean? Like post-slavery.
That's a hell of a contrast, ain't it? Here we portraying you all these free black people, and then 500 miles away is somebody that's in bondage. How does that work?
Even if we not bondage, right? Because the era after 1865 is called they call it the new Negro. That's what they call it because that's like the people who were born after slavery and never experienced slavery and stuff like that. So that means that shows them that I guess, enforcing law and order on us was for our own good because it was saying in a movie like that, the synopsis of the movie is saying that when black people are by themselves, they'll still attack each other and do all these things to each other. So when we come in, we restore order because it basically was like they had no control of their town. Even the criminals, it was just two groups of criminals fighting each other. And then you had the sheriff, Bass Reeves, come in. And for people that don't know Bass Reeves, that's the Lone Ranger. For him to come in and him to pick a side and say, okay, I'm going to help this group of bad guys, even though I wanted to take you in, get this group of bad guys. So you got to kind of like watch how they tell the history. Like, people they talk about the colorization of the movie, like how they cast actors who were light skinned and, but how do we even know the pictures that they had back then are like Stagecoach Mary, like because of technology? Because in 200 years, do you think the people now will know what we look like, will be able to know what we look like based on how much information they'll have access to? And we can look at a country like China and how they are able to attract every single resident, and the way they use technology as like a deterrent in the control of society with social economics. That's going to be like the new wave. But you know, when do you think America will adapt social economics? Like, when will America pick up social, meaning that people are part of your credit score and all those things will be your reputation? Because we have so much information on people and access to people, through tracking, through people that have, used these apps. Because literally, when you think about like social media, from the time your parents allow you to get on social media, you're kind of tracking yourself. You're chronologizing yourself. Like, you go back and you're like, oh man, when I was 4 years ago today, I was doing this. I was at Disney, or I was graduating college, or it was my first day on a job. And we put those markers on ourselves, and then people that aren't, whereas you don't really know what your grandma did. If you didn't hear stories about your grandma growing up, or and certain things, you really wouldn't know,
Right.
What they've done.
Right. And more likely, grandma probably built the whole foundation for the whole family. Because we ain't even got old ladies like that no more. Like, these older ladies now that's in their 60s, 70s, 80s is the last of that breed of take care of the whole fucking family. You know what I'm saying? These new Janes coming up, I don't see them in the future take care of no family because they haven't been put the roots down like that. Roots are not being put down like that no more. Like, your grandma would have 500 grandkids sleeping everywhere just so the motherfuckers don't go to the peoples. These people today will practically drop you off to the people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
shit.
mean,
I had
yeah,
to buy an iPhone.
you got
Before
to
they,
think it's like if you grew up around somebody from the 1920s. Like, I
right,
don't know how many people have got to grow up around somebody from the 1920s,
right.
but nowadays, mostly you got to think like you say like so let's say like a 60-year-old right now. So it's 2022, right? So
Yeah,
that's just somebody that was born in the 60s,
right.
like or the people that are 50 years old. Like, most of us, like, so when I think of like the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's like I know I grew up with people that graduated high school in the 60s. Like my grandparents graduated high school in the 60s, so they were like older than that. So, and I think, man, they understood, they got to like understand what was going on. Because say somebody was born in the 60s, right? Somebody's grandma right now. That means, so say your grandma's 60, that means you ask your grandma about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Oh,
Right.
I remember when I was little, they died, and it was on TV. They don't really know, as opposed to somebody that was,
Even with
20.
that shit, man, you know that in the 70s, that was great propaganda by the United States government. A picture of Malcolm X, a picture of Martin Luther King, and a picture of John F. Kennedy with a big spoon and a big fork was in everybody's house. When you walk in the door, that shit had a Bible, and the Bible turned to Psalms 23. And everybody's house, everybody went through it. Right now, you don't see a cross. Remember that the whole 70s was fucking John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King as miters, and for the niggas that wanted to be Black Panthers, they had Malcolm X on their wall,
Yeah.
and it was being pushed. And we had a lot of Christmas stuff in '70, like Jesus in the manger. You seen any Jesus in the manger shit this year?
No,
They don't.
they don't push that anymore.
Right. It's old religion now. The new religion is Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that's new religion.
Yeah. It's like you got to make a video, or you take a picture. It's like not anymore about that stuff. Like, it was something.
Right.
Yeah.
Now
It's
it's a million
Elf on the Major got replaced with Elf on the Shelf.
right. It's like a million people making debunking stories now, but they not mentioning it. Like, wait a minute, maybe all this stuff that they said this country was launched on wasn't real. Like, they came here, and I don't know what's the name of that thing that the Spaniards was doing when they like get off the boat and they run up on the Indian village. They the manifest destiny. What is it when they
Oh,
say, either you accept God or we can come in here and tear this motherfucker up.
missionaries. Like, well, I mean, they were missionaries.
That's crazy. But the nigga, the priest will come in speaking Latin to these Indian niggas and telling them to accept God when he can't even understand the Latin. He just doing it verbatim. And the people, his worship, the people that worship under him, they don't even understand it. Before the Gutenberg press built put the Bible out there and people can read it on their own, they were being taught whatever that parish monk, that parish friar, or that holy man, the way he taught it. They were being taught that way. So there was no conformity with it. But then when the book came out, when the nigga invented that book, so he can print out a lot of shit, and motherfucker read that Jane and say, "Damn, you told me God said let you freak on my daughter because you the parish pastor. God ain't say that shit. Now let's go burn this church down." You see what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So, but you know how the Spanish used to come in and be like, if you don't accept Christianity under our Lord, the Pope and all that, we're going to take host of your lands. How can they accept anything when they don't even understand what you're saying? You see what I'm saying, fam?
Yeah.
But now it's still going on in the world. Because if I want to know anything, you know where I can go at and find out, don't you?
What?
TikTok, Facebook, anything. Like, it could be the spectrum is very. I'm talking about like from the president cheat on his wife. I could probably find out on Facebook, TikTok, or something, to the point that this dude up the street just got killed. It's going to be on Facebook before it's even on the news nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Remember, used to watch the news at 6 o'clock because it's going to tell you what's up. And now you got to do is look at your phone. It might.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
The news is like late. When I watch the news, it better be to like really. I have to really be interested in it to get further depth beyond what they telling me on social media. Because by the time social media come on, you can find a person that you'll feel like you was there. Whatever happened, it don't even have to be like a crime. You know when an event happens, you go to social media. You're like, oh, they protested today.
So should they hire police now, or should they hire these social media people? Because it seems like they can do a better job than the people. The police, all we hear about is them framing motherfuckers.
Well, I mean, but all you got to do is you think about it like this, right? It comes to like the social currency, right?
Right.
If somebody can, track you, there's going to be like reward money. Like, remember when they used to have reward money back in the day, right? And called Crime Stoppers. Imagine if police started saying, "Look, we saw this case off social media, and we like to give credit to and they put the clip up of, what somebody shared to let them know." Because all you got to do, like, think about it. If somebody, gets robbed, they're going to come on there and explain to you they didn't. Or somebody's going to come on there showing the chain. Like,
right.
And it ain't even got to be the person that did it. It's going to be somebody that just wanted to look cool because they want to let somebody else show off with it because that person ain't got a gold chain. Like, let me stand in front of your car.
Right.
Like, social currency wanting to be seen.
Right. Well, we got a lot of old people that's like that. Like, they want to be down with so much just to be in an entity right now. Like, it's like, let these kids grow up and do them, man. It's like, get out the way. They don't want to let it go, man. They're still wearing that goddamn old sweater. They don't want to let it go. Get out the way and let these young people do their thing.
Because, but I mean, some people live vicariously though. Like we were talking about earlier, like people maturity. Like, man, if you were somebody that always wanted Jordans and stuff like that, and when you finally get your own money and you're able to go buy those things, then you gonna go buy. By all means, you gonna go. That's what you gonna go spend your money on.
Right. Instead of wanting to be the Jordan company, you want to go surround yourself with a bunch of Jordans at 40, 50 years old.
But you know what? I mean, I didn't get Jordans when I was a kid. So now looking at them as an adult, like, I'm being real, like, we couldn't afford it. So, but now it's like when I had to buy my own Jordans, I'm like, I'm glad y'all. I'm like, I would have felt bad had I got Jordans because I know how expensive they are and I won't buy them for myself because of that reason. I'm like, I don't need them that bad. I don't like them that much. I like to buy shoes that I'm hard on tennis shoes. And you know what I mean? I just got these shoes that I spent $200 on that I can't wear them all the time because I'm gonna mess them up. Like, man, it's cool.
Right. But Jordan is an anomaly. That shit came out as a basketball shoe and it turned into an all-purpose shoe. Ain't that's crazy? Jordans are synonymous with tuxedos and
But it's
proms.
kind of like, okay, it's kind of like fashion, right? Okay,
Right,
look at it like this. Like with Jordan, Jordan was the tip of the iceberg when people went to wearing, like, what was the height of it? When people were wearing gym shorts under their jeans. Like it was a time when, I mean, I don't know if you did it as an adult because I remember doing it as a kid. So, and kids mimic adults where people
right,
used to walk around with their gym shorts up under their jeans.
right.
Like, you come out, you be somewhere, you take off your pants, you fold up your pants, now you can play basketball. Now you got on Jordans, you ready to go and do whatever because it comes from, I think, Jordan. If people were buying kids Jordans, right, and you start with kids, then literally kids are always playing. They don't care what they're doing, what shoes they in. A kid will be trying to play football in boots because
Right.
they don't know no better. Like, so when kids start doing it, it morphs. Because you want your kid to look good. You just mad when your kid come home and mess up their shoes.
Well, to me, Jordan ain't even associated with the shoe no more. It's like that shoe came its own entity. Like the man on the shoe. Some of these kids don't realize that man that's on that shoe is living. That is a real person. Is a you know what I'm saying? A
Yeah.
profile of a real person. They don't even know that. They just know that the Jordan brand is a shoe that everybody in the hood wears. And
Yeah. But I think people know who Michael Jordan is, though. I think, in some
not
ways, people.
not these kids that's growing up, because sports ain't really big with these kids. Sports is big with 30 years up and over. Nowadays, these kids don't really know about these sports people. Like they
That's why they put
barely
him
know,
on video. That's why they put him on video games, though. He's been on
right?
video games.
But Jordan ain't on that many video games. His shit is kind of elite. They don't really they fuck with
I
him.
think he owns his likeness. He let himself be on one game, and that was like in 2013. I don't know, they've explained it before, but Bill Belichick has the same thing with the NFL. He's not on any other Madden games.
Right. Like that. See, that person has turned into an entity. Madden, when nigga be like, yo, I'm about to go play Madden. Do they realize that there was an older white man that was heavy in the sports with Madden was back when Vince Lombardi was popping off on him.
I think it was at the end, but I didn't really know Madden like that. I didn't really it's
John
it's
Madden,
funny
yeah.
that it's funny that I didn't know Madden as a coach. I never followed him as a coach to really know that. I just knew he was always with the video games. But
Right.
that's
See what I'm
because
saying?
but
So
that
imagine,
goes back to like growing up at a certain age because guess what? I was born in the late 80s. I was raised in the 90s. So guess what? Guess what came out in 92 when I was in the video games was the first Madden. So I've had
yeah,
Madden on Sega Genesis. I had Madden on PlayStation. Like, I
okay,
had the 2Ks. Like, I remember those games, but I remember like, I was at the age where they introduced them through video games because it went from people just watching wrestling to having the video game and being able to play it yourself. So when you got the
right,
video game, you get that's where you get the Rock versus this
Undertaker,
person. Like, you know what I mean? You could do that. Or, I remember when I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna show my age. I have, you know, when I was young, it was only like 8 players on the game. So that means you just have to be like, okay, well, you know what? This person, I'm gonna pretend this person is this person that's on wrestling right now. You know what I mean?
right.
Like, now that ain't Macho Man right now. That's Ultimate Warrior right now. Like,
Hey, did you used to get the cheat codes and put them in with the controller, the codes and shit?
man, them codes was hard to come by. You had to know someone that
Right.
bought the book. I didn't know people that had the book, and this was
Or
like before the internet. Like,
go into the bookstore, look in the back of the shit, find the junk with the codes,
write it
write
down.
it down, and then keep it moving. And I have
Uh,
did that before.
Man, hey, in school, past writing with codes, video game codes on a sheet, where you got all the codes. Or when you started going to the library at school, getting to use the printer.
Yeah, print them people shit out.
I print out 15 pages of fucking all the video game shit. Grand Theft Auto, like all the cheat codes, all the weapons, all the money.
Is that game still popular?
Man, yes. Grand Theft Auto is like that's where like metaverse came. Grand Theft Auto is like a whole world. It's people that's
I
on
know,
Grand Theft
but
Auto.
I haven't
They,
really heard nothing about it lately because at around 2010, was it? that shit was taking over. You know what I'm saying? Everything was Grand Theft Auto.
So what it was Grand Theft Auto came out at a time where it transformed. In Grand Theft Auto was like the first game to have like its own little world. Like y'all can talk to each other. You know, it's one thing with Call of Duty, but Grand Theft Auto, you could just go hang out. You go get in a car you think is cool, a Lamborghini. Right. You know,
I seen a nigga with a crack house up there. What's going on with that? I seen a nigga with a crack house.
Man, you can go buy stuff like that. And you know, it's like based on the city, so everybody play. You know, that's part of me. That's part of the reason why there's a fascination right now with California, is because Grand Theft Auto is based in California. I'm telling you, if they base the next Grand Theft Auto like out of New York and they go back to New York and do it again, and it's going to be like loosely based on like the 5 boroughs and stuff like that.
Right.
You're going to have people that are going to be like in wanting to know about New York because they play Grand Theft Auto. And it's gonna sound crazy, but you're literally gonna have people that are more interested in New York and the element like the cold.
But if they know like I know, fam, they about to get stay the hell out of New York. New York ain't no joke.
And the cold part is you know, even on that game is you can dress yourself like however you want to dress. So you can have someone that dresses like they from, you know, in Tim's and stuff on Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
And skinny jeans. You like, oh, you must be from New York and shit like that. You know, are you from? That's how in Florida we always tell the New York people, because they, you know, they like wear Timbs and they that's all they talk about. You know, everybody in Florida, that's why I call Florida retirement state, because everybody show up to Florida and they talk about where they was.
Right.
Like Florida's like you made it. It's like, man.
But why is Florida cheap?
Yeah, it's cheap.
Okay, because I was always trying to figure out, is it overrated and prorated, because a lot of older people go there and, you know, they take their retirement there. So
I mean, man, think about it. Like, but you know, so I look at it like this: you have people that live in all these states, and they talk about how expensive their state is to live. Like,
right?
You look at like Miami is the only southern city that's on the top 10 most expensive cities to live at in the United States. Everything else is like East Coast or like California and stuff like that. Like, so those people make more money because the cost of living is more. It's places out there where the average house cost is $900,000. So it's $900,000. That's the average you pay for a house. So if I'm paying $900,000, that means like my mortgage is like what, $17,000, $18,000, $2,000, $3,000. Like, you know, $4,000. You know, you're having an expensive, depending on what type of loan you got.
Right.
So imagine somebody living in Florida that's paying $1,500 and they got a 4-bedroom house.
Right.
2 bathrooms. Now you ain't got no yard because it's crowded, but you know, and you done moved in there, you paid $150,000 for it, but now 5 years later, when they done built up around it because it was an orange grove and now they built up, now this house is worth double.
Okay. Oh yeah, Ivan, I got a correction, man. Your young lady was right. It was 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, she was right. 4 hours. When I went back and checked it, I was like, yeah, they were right. Okay. I don't know why it seemed closer than that to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of that, they got that intercoastal waterway conduit out here.
But I would think that, I mean, I don't know but when you like, you know, look at stuff like that, so I would think that people move from there, and when you move somewhere, like say you were making that money, if you're saving money, you can move anywhere. Like if you go live in like, you know, in what is it, like Silicon Valley, and it's like millions of dollars to live there, and you're making a couple $100,000. Imagine like when you leave there and you take the equity or money you have in there, and you're like, boom, I go here. You might have a little startup. You might have startup.
Right. You're gonna have startup. If you come to the East Coast,
if you got, you know, people are selling their houses in 4 or 5 years. Imagine going to California and buying a house in an expensive city, right? $1 million home, and then being in there for like 4 or 5 years, and then you selling it because the price went up.
But they don't hold that value too much over there. That real estate don't hold that value like that. That's why these people,
you don't want to be there for a long time. Look at these celebrities; it's an investment because
they be paying this money, and then
somebody gonna come from somewhere else. They want to get here and live here. Sell them yours.
Right. And that's why you find it transfers from hand to hand. Each celebrity had you know, like who was like 50 Cent was in Mike Tyson old joint.
let me ask you this though, right? When you ever seen in Europe like these castles, like were these rich, these socialites, were they moving in each other's stuff?
Yeah,
They was married and keeping that stuff in their family.
right, right. Establishing equity.
I mean, they had it laid out. Like, I mean, Buckingham Palace. Like,
Right, establishing equity. That's crazy too. That don't you see the value in that though? Like this person can, he has land. Land. We that's another thing, Ivan. We always saying we want to buy a house, but really what we need to be trying to get is some land.
yeah.
Land is like the most important thing on the planet, man. It's more precious than gold.
Oh man, it definitely. That's why but now they sell you these and like little plots and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, but what all our grandma and granddaddy land at? You know, our old heads had some land, and it's gradually has faded out that we trying to clutch for any of that shit because we displaced from it. They got us calling us African Americans. Now, how can you
yeah,
be an African American? Like, what? So there. So are you admitting that there is Africa in America? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I be? You know what I'm saying? I'm just an American, and
I mean, yeah, because I mean, at what generation does somebody like drop they? How many generations does your immigrant status drop away?
right, right now immediately. Once you're born on this soil, you're not linked to Africa. Wherever you're born at, that's where you're from. But they displace us from it, so that's why we tend not to fight for it because we thinking, oh, I just go back to Africa with the people with the in the jungle and shit, and then you go to Africa. And there's a misconception. They tell you that you're not from here, and then what we thought was Africa is not. It's more. It's better. Like we thinking we come on through some old dirty, crazy motherfuckers. You get over there, everybody's smart, everybody got money, and everybody about business. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean,
hey,
y-
I'm I'm with you, but I'm not with you. You know what I mean?
what's going on, realist?
That's it's
Man.
crazy.
But I mean, you got to think about that, like, because when you have, you know,
Yo, what up, realist?
you think about it, like, so when somebody's like Irish, like people will be like, my grandma is like Irish American. They still kind of like hold on to it through lineage, but
But
even Africa, like you can't say a specific place. So it's like an African American because if you were from Ethiopia, you'd be like, I'm an Ethiopian American. Like, you
right,
know what
and
I'm
then no,
saying?
no,
Like,
no. And look, then if you was from Ethiopia, you would be even able to narrow it down to a tribe. Like,
yeah, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, even but it's kind of like that. But then because and it's not the same as like Asian American. And the reason I say this is because say Asian American, they're gonna tell you I'm Japanese, I'm Korean,
right,
I'm this and I'm that. So if they're Korean, they're not gonna break that further and say, because it's implied that it's more than likely it's a Southern Korean soul, but you would say they're not gonna say I'm from Seoul because Seoul is a city. They're not. I'm a Seoul American. I'm a Korean American, and that's why they leave it at that. But
right.
if you say you're African American and you don't have a specific place that you can point and say, okay, I'm this country, it kind of does look strange,
But that's
because
not what you're saying though. That's the title you're being given. I
yeah,
don't I don't know the first black person that came up and said, "Hey, don't call me that. I'm an African American." I don't know him because you notice every 20 years they change who we are. We've been
yeah,
nigger, Negroes, blacks, Afro, African. You know what I'm saying? We don't that name changes. We don't be peeping that shit, but we done been 50, 60 different names. And they still ain't told it the original names. We you know what I'm saying? We are indigenous to this land. So they still ain't told the truth, but every 20 years we get a different name. And you know anything about this shit that every 50 or 60 years they gotta vote and see if they still gonna allow the black people to vote.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's like something they just voted a couple of years ago, didn't they? On that. Like, why is that law still
I think
around?
that was like the thing in Georgia, like.
Huh?
I mean, but think about that's how they. But that goes back to what I was talking about in that movie. In the harder they fall, that was a similar scenario. Like they come in and govern us to see if how we need to be, become a part of it.
Okay. Damn, you heard about that Russian rapper that got chopped up and fed to some rats for cheating on his wife with a fan.
No, I didn't hear about that one. Hold on.
That's crazy. Wow. See, this is what I was talking about, making a mockery of the music scene. We got Snoop Dogg done signed a football player, Eli Manning. He getting a Death Row Records chain. Like Snoop, you playing with legacies like it's a train set, man. Eli Manning. You making a mockery of it, Snoop. You out here getting away Death Row chains. Ain't that the reason some of them dudes got killed for them Death Row chains too? There was a lot of beef behind them chains. Then they said that was the culmination of what happened with Tupac. One they supposed to have been one of the niggas that took Trayvon chain, and now Snoop, you just going around giving it to any one of these Europeans, even if you is beefing with Suge or y'all had y'all differences. You know that's sacred to y'all over there. So you gave a white kid, Eli Manning, who's a football player, a hip hop chain. Man. They say Snoop running Def Jam too. Let's see. Suge Knight name been in the news lately too. Suge might be about to pop out. And what's the relevancy of a Jill Scott sex tape? Come on, Jill, cut it out. 2 Chainz say he coming out with a new album. Is Two Chainz still relevant out here? Like he gonna have to come hard with it.
Sorry about that, man. I take a
All
call.
good.
Man, yeah, I think 2 Chainz. I don't think he's like relevant like that. Like he just kind of had his time. Like you have to flood the market for a little bit. So once you kind of flood the market, it kind of warms down unless you are attaching yourself to like young people. Like to me, that's why like Gucci Mane has been releasing music, right? But now he's releasing music just like solo. He's not doing a lot of collaborations, and that makes his music suffer because a part of the reason he stayed relevant was because he was always attached to the young up and coming artists. Like you're breaking artists, but now you got even younger dudes who were doing that earlier. Young Thug.
Did you hear that new joint he got on the Friends beat?
Yeah, like
that bitch gangster, boy. That's Gucci Mane right there. That shit gangster right there.
Yeah, but it doesn't, also it trips up the age gap though.
Right.
Because
that's my era. That song was one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. But that transcends, but that puts him in a different category of rap too, though, because
that puts him in 3 lanes: his genre, this new genre, and the genre of the '80s. They gave him 3 different would you say 3 different people that would listen to his music, 3 new subscribers. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
An old head gonna fuck with it because when I heard it, I'm like, yo, this nigga murked that motherfucker with that beat. And then, did you like it when you heard it?
It was catchy. I mean, I know the original song, and I kind of like the original song better. If you ask me, so I can't really. I'm like when you redo a remix, a good song, that song has to be better. Like, and I'm like, nah. So in my opinion, I'm gonna say I don't like it because I like the original.
The original one is in my top 5 songs of all time. That Friends by Houdini.
I
Nigga.
mean, it's because like it's not even about like being lyrical and stuff like in that time. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's classic music. It's timeless. Like that song is timeless.
It's like the Yin Yang Twins. Their music will be forever party, have a
Oh,
good time music. I don't give a damn what a nigga say. They got some timeless classics. You know what
I
I'm saying?
mean, because look at like Lil Jon. Like people don't really think about Lil Jon more so because they almost credit Crunk now of giving it to Memphis, like at 3-6 Mafia, because so
Right.
it kind of go. But if you think about it, man, Lil Jon was like a staple for a few years.
Right. He got in there. Look, and to the point that when the white people got there going put them, got Lil Jon on their shit, you know that shit is real. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
Like, wait a minute.
he crossed over. Like Lil Jon was like a crazy crossover. Like, but then there's like Pitbull.
But guess who really launched his career? He launched like everybody. He launched like 8 different niggas' career and relaunched some niggas' careers. You know who it was? A comedian, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
He kind of like he was a Charlemagne. He was a fucking Charlemagne on a sitcom because he was making niggas famous again that we forgot about. You know what I'm saying? Or
But I think that,
remix the
yeah,
shit.
but you know what? It's almost because they mess with those people. They have like genuine relationships. So it's like, man, I can bring you around because it's like fun and be able to have fun with it
Right.
too. So because I didn't know Rick James was in the movie Life.
He was. I didn't either. What he was doing in life.
Man, he was the bootlegger.
I'm gonna have to go back and see that. Dang.
If you remember, hey, if you think about that, like when it comes to hip hop, like Dave Chappelle took you through his whole life musically. Like he think about go to Chappelle show, all the musical appearances. He's like a real hip hop head, like per
Yeah,
se.
and he's a real he's like the voice though. Whatever he was saying was going. Like he brought R. Kelly back up. You know what I'm saying? And it made it a joke. That kind of like hurt R. Kelly. So
Yeah,
it
hey,
kind of made it.
Salute is on. I would say, okay, Jermaine Dupri, he's like before them, but like Jermaine Dupri really didn't. To me, he didn't really cross over into adult music. That's just me, and maybe I'm too young to remember, but I've known him for like the Brad, which to me is like that. That's kind of like PG rap music. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
that ain't. Like maybe the most gangster song he had was that Money Anything with Jay-Z, and that was like kind of like a pop record.
Right.
If
Right.
you
Yep.
like Jay-Z, like. It wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think, but he is Jermaine Dupri is a staple in Atlanta's hip hop
Yeah.
scene. Like,
But he
but I
was
think,
looked at as a novelty. I'm gonna say this because I've been on the music scene for when he was out. Like he was looked at as a novelty because he worked with the young people. He was never taken seriously. Who has been a staple on the ATL rap scene is people like I would say who's a staple in the rap scene. You gotta fuck with him. It's probably like people like T.I., who's really connected to the streets. Jermaine Dupri was more boutique rap because he came in with money. His pops had a little bit of money. He grind his business. He did it. He grind his business from starting from nothing, but off of a couch or something in a $300,000 condominium. You see what I'm saying? He didn't grind it in the hood nowhere like a Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy came from his grandma's living room. You remember the old Soldier Boy Jones?
I mean, that's like the Chief Keef started. Like when Chief Keef came from
The script straight off the house, out the house.
yeah, like he was on house arrest. Like that's like that guerrilla footage. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? That's like now. That's like getting famous in your mom's garage. Like you just set your little area up, man. You can be your
and
own
that's another
entrepreneur.
touchy subject too. That drill music. You see how they glorify killing people because it can't be drill music unless you go do a drill, come back and make some music about it. So it's like the push to exterminate each other so that you can get a Grammy. Because didn't Lil Durk win a Grammy? Didn't Lil Durk win something?
I don't think he's like. I don't know if he's one. I think he's been nominated. Being nominated is like a huge thing.
Right, just for the beat on those people's tongue. But I've seen some people win some awards that I never even heard their music, and I'm on music head. You like, who the fuck is this? So I'm saying. Yeah. So like everybody, they not going by that Grammy shit now or those awards because those awards are given to people who are popular at the time, not who has the best music. It's who's popular. Because you noticed 2 years ago, Cardi B was the hottest thing on the radio, and now you can't get none out of her because they switched her out, put Meg Thee Stallion, switched her out, and now it's in limbo. It's a bunch of bimbos that they represent. They got to represent the Black Queen.
So what do you think of, so what does Lizzo represent in your opinion?
Being a bimbo, because that ain't even who she is. She's, they didn't have a big girl presence, so they threw her in the mix. And I heard on Matt, did you hear Matt Skill's wrap up?
No.
On his wrap up, did you hear him say, when you listen to his wrap up, this nigga said it's gonna be funny when you find out the nigga Nas X won't really gay.
Oh yeah, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna tell you this, right? Now it's funny that you say that, right? Think about this, like, all right. Matter of fact, let me change the title. What would you do to be famous?
I would if I become famous, I wanted to be organic, so I would say nothing.
Okay, so in saying that, you got people like, so somebody like Lil Nas X, right? That's
Right.
willing to act like that to be gay, to pretend to be gay. If he gives money, that's no different than somebody that would act gay to get girls.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying like, and so
that's been a ploy in the hood though. You know, that's been a ploy.
Yeah, but okay, so now this dude figured out how to make millions of dollars playing like he's gay, and that's all he's doing.
But can you blame? Can you fault him for it? Can you blame him?
I mean, what if somebody acted like they was a snitch?
He did have Mariah Carey, but don't he deserve a Mariah Carey in his own? Jermaine Dupri, they had to give him that one little chick to get that money. They had to give him that. All of them had that money ball. Like Eminem had 50 Cent. You know, they had to give him that one money ball. They you know what I'm saying? They tried to give French Montana little dirt. French Montana couldn't handle it. You see what I'm saying?
Man, what do you think about them creating that beef with them?
With French Montana and Lil Durk?
Yeah.
It's only gonna propel Lil Durk higher, and everybody is looking at NBA YoungBoy as the next. I see that YoungBoy Durk, and you notice I said his name 50 times because I see him as a leader in music right now. Because if you look at his portfolio, he's the one really working with everybody on both sides. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He creating a little buzz for himself internationally. It's one thing to be known in America, like what's the kid? I get them all mixed up. The baby from ATL. You notice that he only status that he attained was he seen sort of like took Young Jeezy place. They didn't give him Jay-Z spot. They gave him a Young Jeezy place, which means his music will become immortal and his style as a get money nigga, he will always be known as that. But that's it. You're not going no further. You see what I'm saying? I don't see him going no further than where he at with it. What you think?
No, I don't really think so. So what do you think about Kodak Black challenging Jay-Z to a versus?
I think Black might get him, but Jay-Z is a classic nigga. So Kodak Black for his genre, he'll get him. But for like the content, Jay-Z got one album of fuck Kodak Black shit up. It depends on how they go at it. I think Black could get him if they go netball song for netball. You know those songs Kodak Black puts out. He put out like a song every week, like one of them netball songs.
Yeah.
But it would depend on who would be the judge. Because a lot of these kids can't relate to Jay-Z, but his whole discography is fire though. So it depends on how they do it. Because shit, who can get Jay-Z but R. Kelly, man? That's the only nigga.
I mean, but they, people gonna boo everything R. Kelly. They gonna act like they don't like the music, like
Yeah, but that's that whole shit though, because we knew that R. Kelly was doing this shit for fucking 30 years since Aaliyah. When was Aaliyah popping in 1995? Shit, we knew R. Kelly was on that, nigga. It was a tape going around. Man, who ain't tried it? Man, it was a tape going around, dude. You know what I'm saying? And we already knew this, so we hating him for clout because we won't speak on it until these Europeans made that movie about it. What was it? Surviving R. Kelly? Yeah. They needed some content. They needed some content, so they start fucking our brothers over. And when surviving R. Kelly, what about surviving Bill Clinton? What about surviving Prince Andrew? When them James coming out? When surviving Harvey Weinstein? When them James coming out? You know what I'm saying?
They kind of did like the Harvey Weinstein, but I wonder if like people already got paid or
Right, like when is it coming? Because now I feel like they did R. Kelly like that because he amassed a great fortune of timeless shit. And they said, we're not going to do the shit we let Michael Jackson do, in which Michael Jackson threw it in their face every chance he got that. Y'all some motherfucking devils. Y'all using us. So, so now R. Kelly, he has created this $1 billion buzz.
I mean, it's honestly, anytime he moves around, it does make noise that he's doing something. Like, but
Right.
I think people don't realize like going viral. It's like somebody if you make so if somebody comes out and says you're going broke, and then you get on YouTube and you're standing in front of your house, that's going to generate money. So all those views or whatever you get paid and you collect your check, you essentially could do it like that. So imagine somebody like R. Kelly like monetizing a YouTube, like all the songs, or because people play R. Kelly's like CDs. So imagine, and most people know about R. Kelly. The generation will be like, ask your parents. Your parents know about R. Kelly. But do you essentially see someone like Trey Songz, like what's going on with Trey Songz? In 15 years, is Trey Songz gonna be the new R. Kelly?
Hey, in
Yeah.
15 days, Trey Songz gonna be the new R. Kelly because did you see that young girl that's a basketball player say that shit?
Yeah. But they said that stuff before about him. I mean, but that's my question is, and right now it's a lot of people that still like Trey Songz. So the same with R. Kelly, like all those people were still young, so people they didn't want to believe that about R. Kelly. But now with Trey Songz, like, will it take some time to where these people don't know you, so they're like, oh yeah, he guilty. I wouldn't do that.
When was Trey Songz last hit? So does he even resonate with social media and all that stuff now? It's like he like
Like a
a
little bit,
throwback.
a little bit.
So you said you think Kodak Black can hang with Jay-Z?
Uh, I think so, because if you talking about popular music, like everybody knows this stuff right now, it's fresh. You know what I mean? I ain't saying
Right,
that,
it's a different kind of people these days. Like the crowd might not fuck with Jay-Z's what he talking about right now. You know,
man.
it's a clout, clout
Man,
war now.
it might be because the thing about it is Jay-Z's talking laid back and subliminal to where Kodak Black is like it's the people that's in there like doing it and they want you to know they did it. Like that's a different type of music. You know what I mean?
Right. What you think about him getting arrested the other day in his old hood, trespassing?
I mean, I think they did him a favor.
Right. Well,
So
did
so
they?
let me
But he,
okay. So and let me elaborate on it, right? Because of the fact that if he got killed over there, then we'd be saying, man, you can't go back to your community and your community don't love you, but them people put you in jail. I'd rather be in jail than be dead, right?
right.
$25 fine, like don't go back over there. But and if the
Yeah.
people you want, the people you can trust, now when you bring the people around you, you really gonna see who love you because them the people you gonna allow around you from that community. So go buy that should tell us to go buy our own land. Because if you gonna do that, so by doing that at Kodak, you buy your own land. Now you can host people. You can build houses and stuff like that. You can go hang out and be amongst your people.
Right. You see, N. Jones said Jermaine Dupri was checking a bag in 2 lanes. I'm gonna say this about it. Jermaine Dupri has went bankrupt a couple of years back, so it goes to show you like you might be fame does not equate to monetary. You know what I'm saying? Like you might be super famous, and that might make sure that you will always have money, but you might not be making money off of what you came in with because I don't think you even making money off of any of that music. You think so?
Um, I would say,
I don't think he owned his own publishing.
I think he, you know what? I would say he does, but I would say, let me ask you this though: do you think he gave his artists fair deals? Because in the age where we're seeing people like Ashanti re-recording their albums, you
Right,
don't hear Mariah Carey talking about she needs to go re-record her album. So maybe he did right by his artists because
right. We can't use Mariah Carey though because in the modern words of this kid End Zone, she got a couple of bags. She got a Nick Cannon
yeah,
bag. She got a Tommy Mottola bag, which is super, and then she got whatever she can glean from dealing with Jermaine Dupri and all
yeah,
these singers.
but okay, but when I do business with you, you can't count my other deals in my business deal with you. Well, I'm gonna give you a better deal. That's all I'm saying. So maybe he did give her a fair deal because,
Right.
or are you saying she just don't care about the money? But regardless, she's not. My point is, she's not saying I need to go re-record those albums because I need money. Somebody like Ashanti and them, like, were them deal? Are those bad deals?
Right. Now they want bad deals because guess what? It can't be a bad deal if you read it. If a person handed it to you and you read it and signed it, it can't be a bad deal.
Yeah.
But does okay, you're right, in zone, but does Mariah Carey own the publishing to that Christmas song? That Christmas song is, hey y'all know that shit gonna get played. It just went bolo again. That shit was the number one. So, but does she own the uh electrical property of it though? It could get played a lot, but is she gleaning anything off of it? Because remember, TLC had the number 1 and 2 songs in the country on the radio, getting all these awards, and they said they was broke that night. You remember that, Alvin?
Yeah.
They was bucking on their record label that night. They were the like most famous chicks on. They kept playing that joint to them. What was that? The Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls, right?
Yeah.
They was on it that night, and they came out and said, "Hey, but we hungry. We ain't even got nowhere to stay tonight." Ain't that's crazy?
Yeah. But shit, I'm gonna close this live out, man. I'm gonna get up with y'all later, man.
All right,
All right, peace.
peace.